let me show you what I got at the thrift store that inspired me for Valentine's Day this year. I got this book. It has all kinds of Valentine's poems in it. And then I got this cute wooden wreath. It reminds me of those cute little Valentine's candies. Let's use this to decorate the front door for Valentine's Day. I have this little basket with the white lighted twigs in it left over from Christmas. I've removed the greens and I've added some beads and some hearts. I'm going to re-add greens that are fresh. Here's an indoor option. Let's see what we have for Valentine-shaped cookie cutters. I think we'll go with these little metal hearts. One's vintage, one's modern, and one is a wooden press that I've never used, so I'm excited about that. We're going to use just a basic sugar cookie recipe. We're going to need 1 egg, and 1½ sticks of butter, which is also 3/4 of a cup. We'll turn the mixer on low to start mixing the butter and eggs, and now we're going to add the sugar. We need 3/4 of a cup of granulated sugar. We're going to add 2 teaspoons of pure vanilla extract. I'm going to add 1/2 teaspoon of almond extract, 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I'm going to turn the mixer back on and we're going to be adding 2 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour. I'm going to just quickly scrape down the sides of the bowl to make sure everything is incorporated. Another 15 to 20 second spin and we should be done. I'm going to cover it with some saran wrap. We're going to put it in the refrigerator for a minimum of an hour, but you can put it in overnight if you want. We're going to start with using our wooden cookie press. I've never used one before, so I'm not even sure how much to use, but I'm going to use my little cookie scoop and see if that's an accurate measurement. But before we do that, we need to add some flour to our little block here. Make sure that the flour gets in all of the little cracks, and then just slightly dump out the excess flour. I'm just gently pressing the dough into the mold, keeping it as close to the edges of the mold as possible so that when I pop it out, I won't have too much overhang. I'm going to continue this process till I fill up the one cookie sheet. The rest of the dough we're going to use for rolled out cookies. I've set some strawberry jam out to come to room temperature. I'm going to give it a little stir to loosen it up, and we're going to add some to each of the centers of these heart cookies. I'm just using the tip of the spoon as a little measurement. You could put as much or as little on as you want if you have this type of a mold. I've preheated the oven to 350. And I'm going to bake them for approximately 12 minutes. As those are baking, we're going to use the rest of the dough for rolled out cookies. So we've got our little cookie cutters, and I'm going to flour the surface of the countertop. I'm going to slightly pat this out on the countertop. I'm going to add some flour so that the rolling pin won't stick. And I'm going to roll these out between 1/4 and 1/2 inch. 1/2 inch is a little too thick, but of 1/4 inch is a little too thin. So kind of somewhere in between that. We'll start with this vintage one. I like it. It has kind of a ruffled edge on it. Up, the timer just went off. Let me get those cookies out of the oven. I'm just going to check to make sure they're done. And yes, perfect. Now back to the cutout cookies. And the last little piece of dough, I do not bother rolling out. I just kind of pat it together, and I call this a test cookie. I get to taste it to see if it's finished cooking. The oven is still heated to 350 degrees and another 12 minutes. While those cookies are baking, we're going to take these off and let them finish cooling on the rack. "12 minutes is up. Time to take the cutout cookies out of the oven. And now we're going to allow these to finish cooling on the rack. And now for the test cookie. Guess what's going to happen? Yep! Yum! Perfectly done. Now we're going to make a powdered sugar frosting, and I'm using an organic powdered sugar. I don't like the modified cornstarch that's in regular powdered sugar. And we're going to use 2 cups of the powdered sugar, a pinch of salt, a 1/4 teaspoon of the almond extract, 1 teaspoon of our vanilla, and 2 tablespoons of milk. At this point, if it's too thick, you can always add a little bit more milk, but I think this is about right. I've divided this by 3, some in the 2 little bowls and left some in the original. Now I'm going to add some food coloring, a bright pink and a very dark purple like a violet. I'm using a regular teaspoon to add the frosting to the cookie. I have this pink depression wear cake stand. I think it's perfect for Valentine cookies. Don't forget to pack some of those up for those special people in your life. Today's Bible verse is 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verses 4 through 7. Love suffers long and is kind. Love does not envy. Love does not parade itself, is not puffed up, does not behave rudely, does not seek its own, is not provoked, thinks no evil, does not rejoice in iniquity, but rejoices in all truth, bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Thank you for watching Seasoned Living with Rosemary.